Welcome, my name is Guido Scherb. I'm from the ZBW, this is the Leibniz-Informationszentrum for Economics in Kiel and Hamburg. And today I'm here with Professor Stefanie Lindstaedt. She's from Austria and she works for the TU Graz and the No Center. So today we are talking about big data. So big data is an yes, increasingly used word, especially it comes from industry, and it currently makes a shift towards science. And now I want to know what is the relevance of big data for science, and for example, where does the data come from?
Okay, thank you. Big data, there are lots of definitions out there. Probably the most well-known is the one of the 3 V's, which is volume, so the pure size of it, velocity, the speed in which the data comes in, and variety in the different formats which data exists in. However, I think personally that a definition which focuses less on the pure size, if it's now terabytes or petabytes, it's more interesting to focus on the capability of this increased amount of data to actually have deeper insights into scientific processes, so to say, so in natural sciences, for example. So it makes a really qualitative difference if I have only 1 or 2 measurement points at a given time, or if I can actually measure continuously over a longer period, and then the insights which I can gain from such increased amount of data, that's the important stuff. So if I have a situation in which I normally only get 1 measurement point per day, and I suddenly can get 10 or 20 measurement points a day, so this doesn't really mean it's so much more data, but the insights which is capable to get out of this is the important part. And so, of course, industry has already adopted a lot of these big data analytics approaches, and some of the businesses are trying to become data-driven businesses, and now science is also going that way. In some of the disciplines, such as physics, data-driven processes and methods are state of the art. So this is what they have been doing for a long, long time. But there are other parts of sciences where this has not been that strongly focused on, and so these are the areas which are now also adopting the more data-driven approach.
Okay, but nevertheless, in big data, you usually has a lot of different data, huge amount of data that has to be processed. And how is it possible to extract useful information from that huge amount of data?
Well, on the one hand side, we need a very strong analytic engines. So we need very strong methods, intelligent algorithms which extract relevant patterns from the data. But the most important part is that those need to be made visible in a way that humans can understand it. And then we need domain experts, those scientists, to really sit in front and to understand or to point out which one of these patterns are really interesting, where should the data be further analyzed, and in which parts of the patterns or correlations we found are of no interest. So in order to really do a good analytics, we need both. We need the machine power to really do the analytics and the number crunching, and on the other hand we need the experts who have the domain knowledge in their head, and they understand the relationships between these the different data points in there, and together this can really speed up science.
Well, thanks. And in your talk that you gave today at the Science 2.0 conference, you mentioned a word called democratized data. What is that?
Right, so this comes actually from LinkedIn. So they are arguing that in order to really become a data-driven business, you have to democratize data within the company. So you have to make all the people within the company able to get at all the data, experiment it, play with it, and come up with new inquisitive questions, which then in turn can be either answered already with the data which is there, or which require us to collect more data and different kind of data in order to answer them. The same, so when we now transfer it to data-driven science, we have the same situation, but now here, of course, we don't have the situation within one organization, but the hard part is to democratize that data across organizations within the whole scientific community. And of course, that implies a lot of legal issues, privacy issues, and so forth. But the ideal situation would be if all the data is available, all the researchers can access the data and can try to find interesting insights in there.
So, big data is a powerful means to do data-driven science. But I'm wondering if the scientific community, the scientists, are they currently properly prepared to do technically data-driven science with big data analysis?
As I said, so some of the disciplines are, but many of the disciplines are not. And I think what's important is that we include in the qualification programs of those disciplines to include this data analytics approach. So, I mean, we are more and more building these analytics tools and services which can be used. And of course, the scientists need to be able to use those tools and understand what is coming back, and to also think critically about what is coming back. Because we cannot just use you could just use the analytic engines on all sorts of different data, but if the data's history and its quality is of very different standards, then the insights you will gain are most probably false. And so therefore the scientists have to be trained to really look critically at the data which is available and see how they can link it with other data, if that's possible, and then use the analytics tools to find whatever they are looking for.
So, thank you very much, Stefanie Lindstaedt.
Thanks.